An amazing thing about Peter was that he had his space and his bookstore and his music and his equipment and everything. And then it just seemed like one day he sold everything and just changed his life. And I was just like, well, how can somebody do that? It's just so, just turn it off like that, or switch gears. And I don't know, I was talking to Richard Lehrman, and he was asking me about Peter, and I was like, reminded me of this story I heard in Buckminster Fuller. And Buckminster Fuller, he actually was feeling really low, and I think he was going to jump into a river committing suicide. And then he decided just before he did it that every act that he would take was for the benefit of mankind. Totally changed his life then. So I guess there's, I can see how that can happen. I just don't understand how someone could do that. It might happen, but he's a very interesting guy. I think that in that 9 hours till LA, when I was probably 6 or 7 driving back, you've probably said more to me on this tape than he did that whole trip. And he was a man of few words. And the last time I saw him, I just like, okay, he doesn't talk much. I just said, "Are you happy?" That's all I really needed to know.
Are you?
One time, I remember coming back from Flagstaff. And every time we passed a VW, I didn't realize it for half the trip, that he could make his car backfire by raising off the gas and then flooring it. And then when I realized he was doing that, we decided that we were going to blow up every RV that we passed. And we'd backfire and we'd just laugh and go to the next RV. And on and on and on, all the way back down the hill. And then I remember going up there. There was a problem with the vehicle that the Oliphants were in, so me and Sue Ling hang out, and they ran to go get the tow truck. And, oh God, my back of my leg was so sunburned, but I was trying to convince Sue Ling that I would lay on the ground behind the car, have her sit on my stomach, and pretend like she was wailing on me, just to see, people driving up the road going, oh, they had car trouble, and now she's just kicking the shit out of him. But she didn't do it, but it was pretty funny.
I think that was before she was a karate champion. So
yeah. She was going to art school way back when.
Yeah.
As a goth.
Yeah. They were hoping to catch up with her someday.
Yeah, I touched base with David once or twice a couple of years ago at the Paper Heart. I have his card, but I just hadn't made contact with him. Slipped him an animation that I had done, which I was still using lifeguard music, and passed that along to him. So I think even on these, there's lifeguard music playing on those animations.
Some of that music's they're great.
It was just a really interesting band. They actually started at a memorial for a guy named George, who was with a band called 24 Hour Will. Heart attack, I think, and passed away. I didn't know him very well, but I have friends who knew him. And they joined together that night. That was the start of Lifeguard, and it was just amazing how 3 people could fill so much sound coming out of that, just making it up as they go along. It was just brilliant.
George McCoy?
Yes, George,
Yeah,
big guy. Yeah, 24 Hour World, I think, was the band. And it was way back when Crash was down on Pima and 7th Street. Go back there. There's some nice shows down there, too.
Yeah.
But, when it's happening, you're going, this is it, it's every day, and it's okay. And then when you look back on it, you go, oh my God, that was really amazing.
It has come such an amazing distance.
I remember one time at Gallery X, maybe 45 people in the room, and it was completely dark, and Rose Johnson and Michelle Tobias Cote, I don't know what her last name is now, but Cote back then, and Tobias in between, but she was dancing. She's like ballerina trained. She was dancing, and in a box made out of drywall was Rose inside with a lot of light. And the whole room on the outside, the audience perspective, it was completely dark. And as she put drill holes, she was using power tools, and cutting openings would happen, and it would just shoot out beams of light because she had it so well lit in there. And this immersion thing happened while Michelle danced on point. It's kind of interesting. Oh, one time at Crash, Michelle was dancing on top of a trailer. Rose Johnson was painting it. I think Life Garden was was playing, and there was a grad student from ASU there I recognized, and I came up to him and I go, "Hey, what do you think of all this?" And he's like, "It looks like people who couldn't get into grad school." I was just like, "Oh my God!" Yeah, and I thought, that's what people would say about people that went to grad school, but they couldn't, But he went to, I think he got his undergraduate degree in Carnegie Mellon, so he was kind of uppity. Thought that was the funniest thing.
Well, those are early seeds of this evolution.
Yeah, but
this building's been through a lot
in
of different
fact,
iterations.
Laura Mumby had a studio in here, and this was the first space finished. And then across the hall, and Casey McKee eventually moved in there, and then they built in the back there. But I remember, God, it'd have to be mid-90s, bringing classes down here from Scottsdale and doing installation pieces. And there wasn't much happening on this road, but Doug had the lounge, and the company store was up there. So I had a couple groups up there and some down here. There was a lot of space here, and then Mike Muskowski had the Polk space, and so gosh, we had our own little art walk here. It was like maybe 20 people in the class, and they each had to do one, but it was really quite well attended. But Laura had a studio here, and she was doing wall treatments for hotels and rich people. And across the hall, across the street over here, the brick building that the Lucky Rabbit's now in, Mike Muskowski used to live there, and Soul Invictus used to, right across the way there. That had a cell phone place in the middle of it. And like 2 o'clock in the morning, we'd be down here drinking or whatever, and we'd look over there, and people would stop at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and go into the cell phone place. And we're like, oh, okay, we know what that's about. Paisley Violin used to be a veterinarian right there. So. And then when they got that space over there, the back space that the theater uses, and Mike Muskowski had for his studio, that was ceiling to floor, wall to wall, not wall to wall, but all against the wall, ammunition. A guy used to reload for the police department, it was half a block down the road, and when he moved, he left all that stuff. And I think Doug helped clean it out. That's how I found out about it. But my God, yeah.
Then Jeff Cochran was in here.
Yeah.
This was a theater for a little while.
No, that was, Jeff Cochran, yeah, that was his name, yeah. I was thinking Dave Camp, but yeah, Jeff Cochran. This was the monkey show. Had like tiered couches, you could bring your own beer and watch independent film. It was nice. Susie Falk was around, and yeah, that was an interesting
So one of the things
incarnation.
I find really amazing is that it's only been 15 years, inside of 15 years, that these places were abandoned and that no one came down here to now that it's got an artistic history. It's already got an
And
artistic
more and
history.
more people move in. I always said that if you have one antique store there, that's okay, but you get like 10, and you got Glendale, people go there just for that.